Welcome to UCF Knightline, your source for UCF sports and former player information.
Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the 1148 studios, and joining me as always is
Trace Trylko. Hello, everyone.
Trace. Your voice is a little you've lost it a little bit. What's going on?
That was 2 hours of screaming at the Orlando City game.
All right.
Well, really about 1 minute of real screaming at the end. Unbelievable.
That was a crazy game. Tied 2-2, but in the end, really, it's a win because we get a point. Right?
Yeah,
if
they stole a point
soccer
from the jaws of defeat.
Yeah, so a point is good, and it's all good. So this is episode number 70.
Hey, that ends in a 0. I know how much you like
man,
that.
That's a big deal. 70 is a big number, too, man. I'm surprised that we have made it this far.
Every week, every new episode.
I know. It's great. It's absolutely great. So what do we have in store? We got some baseball to talk about, some football to talk about at some point. We have some...
You've got an interview with new linebacker Eric Mitchell. Folks are going to want to hear that and get to know him a little bit better.
Yeah, defensive end, Eric Mitchell. Did you say that?
I said linebacker.
Yeah, well, he may be a linebacker. You never know.
He is now.
He may be a linebacker by the time this is all over.
I have changed his position.
That's fine.
Hey, before you leave the Orlando City score and that game mentioned, former UCF standout Haji Berry made his MLS debut, came into that game for Orlando City, and was in on an assist.
That's awesome.
What a day for him.
I know. It was just such a weird game. I don't know if everybody on here that's listening follows this, but Kaká wasn't playing at the beginning, which was kind of weird, and that's always a big thing when Kaká plays or he doesn't play. Either way, it's a big deal.
Yes, correct.
With him not playing, though, it kind of put us at a disadvantage, I felt, because he's, the star player, kind of. And then Laren scores a goal, but is offsides. Then
controversially offsides.
Yeah. I had to go do something. I came back, and it was 2-0.
They had a red card, lost a guy.
Right, before
Orlando's up 1, but gives up a goal. Then Orlando has a red card. Then it's back to equal strength at 10-10, and then they give up another goal, and all hope is lost until craziness.
It was really weird.
That 94th minute. I have a question for you.
And then 2 goals scored in 30 seconds, basically. 20 seconds, I thought.
It never happens. That never happens.
That's crazy.
You say every week, and this is well known, that you like football. That's your favorite. Do you like soccer? Do you like that Orlando City is here? Because you're texting me during the game. Is there overtime? What's going on here?
Yeah,
no overtime.
I'm learning more and more about it as we go. Because, I don't know that much about it. I like it for sure. I think it's great that Orlando City is here. I would, of course, be a Sporting KC fan if I really, was into it. But it's easier for me to follow Orlando City, so I guess I'm an Orlando City fan. It's cool. I like it. I need to learn more about it to really understand. Like, I don't understand the whole concept of being offsides in soccer. So that really confuses me.
It seemed neither did the refs.
Now, is it that he's inside that goal box thing? Or
no,
what
it's
is
where
offside?
the player is in relationship to the other player where the ball is.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's totally stupid. This is why...
offsides is a common call in hockey, too.
Okay, well... Yeah, it didn't look like, offsides in football obviously
is a little more noticeable
is a little
and
bit
easy.
more noticeable and
not as subjective.
Yeah.
But Haji Berry, come on. He gets an assist in his first MLS game.
That's great.
Played for UCF in the last season. That's huge.
He took a couple shots actually, so or at least the one shot that went over the goal, and I was hoping that he would get, that he would actually score, so that's awesome for him.
He is the Sunday standout in a sea of not very noteworthy results for UCF sports this Sunday. Basketball goes out in a whimper. Baseball also not so good on the road.
Well, let's talk about basketball again there then real quick, because that was kind of the big, thing of the day. Again, Donnie Jones has failed to give UCF a winning season.
Fire Donnie.
Absolutely.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be done. I'm hoping it's done maybe tonight. Maybe, I don't know, if they give him a chance to play this one game that, we'll be out of that tournament in one game.
Probably one and done, or maybe they get 2. They were 5-13 in league play last year, finished 6-12. 2 wins apiece against the bottom 3 teams. So home and away, wins over East Carolina, Tulane, and South Florida.
Right. What was the record this year then?
12-17 overall.
12-17 overall. And
so 6-5 in the non-con, 6-12 in the conference schedule.
6-5. So I guess that's, again, what was the conference?
6-12.
6-12. And what was it last year?
5-13.
Oh, okay. So, well, he got...
Hey, there's improvement.
Yeah.
He should get another contract extension.
He got one more win. I don't think that that's acceptable. I really don't.
Well, especially when you look at the blowout losses that really marked the latter part of the American schedule. Nonetheless, the AAC tournament is in Orlando, begins Thursday. UCF is in that bottom 4, so they play the Thursday game, 6 o'clock at Amway.
In the bottom of something.
And they play Tulane. And they've had success against Tulane, but it's worth noting that Tulane is 3-15 in the league.
Right.
So, what will happen here with either one of those teams that they were going to play, and it's Tulane? Yeah, they beat each of them twice. Can you beat a team a third time? We're going to find out.
Yeah, I don't know. I want this. Honestly, I want basketball to be over. I want baseball to be over. And I want it to be time for football. That's all I really care about, because that's what we all care about. And, I mean, we care about this other stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, I think UCF fans want all the programs to do well. So if UCF were to win Thursday, 6 o'clock at Amway against Tulane, they advance to Friday's game against Houston. So they either get one or they get 2 games.
Right.
My guess
so,
there, based on the way they've played.
Then baseball lost as well today against Rice.
They won Saturday. Pretty good pitching performance by Saturday starter Robbie Howell. And then today, I mean, it's a football score. 13-10 final at Rice. It was 6-6 at one point. They gave up 7 runs late. Bullpen lets them down. They were off to a 6-0 start. And then they lost. They had lost back-to-back games in week against number 1 Florida, home and away. Pretty big crowd out at J. Bergman Field. UCF head football coach Scott Frost throwing out a first pitch there. And, 7-6 now.
Yeah, so, speaking of Scott Frost, I guess there's this new thing that they're going to do for the spring game. The spring game has been announced. It's going to be April 16th. And it's going to be preceded by the UCF Festival. Which
Why are you giggling? You don't like the name?
Well,
they're trying everything they can to work in UCF Fast into everything.
Yeah. One thing I do like about this festival thing that they're doing, I think that they're making the spring game a much bigger deal.
Yes.
They're having tailgating open for it. They're opening up the lots early.
Nighttime game.
A nighttime game. It's at 7 p.m. It's a Saturday night. So, they're making it more than noon on a Saturday.
We were there last year.
And there was, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people there.
It was blistering warm, too.
It was hot, yeah.
Yeah, so 7 o'clock is welcome.
So I think that there's enough people excited about football this year. And with the new coach, and I don't know if this is the absence of George O'Leary that's making this happen, or the presence of Danny White and Scott Frost that's making it happen.
All of the above.
But, there's going to be a concert before. There's going to be a motorcycle show before, like motocross, like
Freestyle
jumps and
MX
stuff
show.
like that. That's going to be cool.
At 4:30 to 5 on the tentative schedule is a Jimmy Buffett cover band.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
I like that. Jimmy Buffett cover
And then there's, who's the band that's playing?
Vertical Horizon.
Yeah, and
are you familiar with Vertical Horizon?
I am, but they had one song, and it was probably about 10 years ago.
And
so,
hey, but now they're playing Festival.
Yeah, now they're playing the spring game at UCF. There must be something. Like, it must be Scott Frost's fiance's favorite song or something, or Danny White's favorite band, maybe. I don't know. That'd be kind of weird if it was. Like, Danny White, so what's your favorite band? Oh, Vertical Horizon. They're,
Well, they're doing a VIP thing where you can get you can hear them serenade you, I guess, with their one-hit wonder.
Yeah, well,
or what have you.
That's exciting, though, still, that there's,
It's not traditional, right? You can get 90,000 out to Florida for a Gator spring game, but this is not a traditional university, and they're zigging in a different direction. A nighttime game, fans have been asking for that. There's energy around seeing what Scott Frost and his new coaching staff are going to put out there, though, of course, I'm not sure how much we're going to learn from the spring game. But it sounds
Do you have your
like
tickets?
I do not.
You don't have your tickets
No,
yet.
the baseball game I have tickets for. These they moved the
Are
baseball
you
game from 4 to noon.
getting season tickets this year, by the way?
That remains to be decided.
After last year's debacle.
After last year's debacle with the administration.
I hate to put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did put me on the spot with that.
But,
I don't use the podcast as much of a forum to rail against the ticket department and the tiki bar and all that nonsense. But
you did attend every game last year, so even though you didn't have your normal season tickets, you did attend I think most of them or some of them at least with me. I think I saw you at every game.
And 2 road games.
And 2 road games, yeah.
Yeah.
So
8 out of 12.
It's not like, you're not. I'm not calling you out, and I don't want to make it sound like you're not supporting. Obviously, you're doing this, and you're going to the games, but you had a disagreement with UCF, and it was fully understandable.
I was promised to be handled well, and
I think the
movement of the tiki bar, and that didn't happen, and I made a decision.
Right.
So.
And the people that have listened to this long enough know that.
Did we talk about this
good.
a few weeks back? Oregon State, Stansbury's new...
I don't know, but he's decided he's going to put their thing that they're building in the stadium in the end zone.
Yeah, that's shocking, isn't it?
Weird.
Shocking.
I wonder why.
They didn't carve out 50-yard line seats, but I digress. You brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
No. I mean, really. I mean, that's ridiculous that, cut this big hole in the side of the stadium I had a little hiccup there. I may cut that out. Maybe not. It may be there for your entertainment.
The people inside the tiki bar had a hell of a time.
They did.
They enjoyed themselves,
yeah,
and good for them. And, contrary to some opinion, I did support the program, attended all the games,
right,
road games.
Right.
And I plan to go to Michigan and South Florida and FIU, and I'm even looking to go into the UConn games. So,
oh, wow.
I choose how to spend my dollars at UCF, and when UCF wants to earn back some of my support in terms of booster dollars, then we can have that conversation.
And people need to have that same opinion with basketball. When the basketball product gets better, people will give them their support for season tickets as well. And this is my biggest thing with Donnie Jones. I like Donnie Jones. I think he's the nicest guy. But we've got to fill that arena. Donald Trump did it the other day. Donald Trump filled that arena plus. Anyway, I know that you don't like Donald Trump either.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
When is after this? Is this our political podcast, or are we doing the political podcast?
I don't think that we could do that. We have very differing opinions on political things, and we would...
I think it'd be interesting to listen to.
It would, but I don't know nearly as much as you do about political things, so...
obviously you like Donald
I
Trump.
would sound...
No.
I would sound dumb, I think, compared to you on political issues because you have more information and you kind of have lived this for a long time. So I don't have the information that you do or, the ability to talk about it as much. So that's why we haven't done that yet. But maybe we'll have if we could have a moderated debate, that would be fun. We could have Night Fan Stan be the moderator or something. That would be interesting. I don't know.
You never know what topics may come up on the next live edition of the Knightline podcast.
Yes, and that we have decided will be March 20th. March 20th. Not next weekend, but the weekend after, because this is the 6th. So
7 East.
7 Eastern. Live on YouTube and live on Rabble TV.
Call-ins?
Yes.
We'll take your calls.
I don't know if we're going to have a guest on that or not, but I think we'll just, you know what? I think this time we're just going to do it by ourselves. We're not going to have a guest. We're just going to talk by ourselves, have a live show, and focus on call-ins because I think that that's what people really like.
We may have a studio audience. My sister and her family are coming to town, and I'm hoping to drag my nephews over.
Yeah, they're young guys.
11 and 12.
And I think that they would enjoy being here and hanging out for that.
My sister listens to the podcast in the car from time to time, so the kids get to hear it.
Yeah.
Like that.
It'll be fun. So maybe we can get their opinions on their quarterback in Denver. They're from Denver, and their quarterback has decided that he's going to hang it up.
I know you have great glee in that. Not a big fan of Peyton Manning,
hanging
are you?
up the chin strap.
How better to go out, though? Come on.
Yeah, it's
Super
fine.
Bowl victory. How better to go out for
Good
him?
riddance. Yeah. Good riddance. I don't like him. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and anybody who plays for
the
the
division
Broncos
to the Chiefs.
Yeah, well, yeah, yes and no, but he was a thorn in our sides even when he was in Indianapolis. Yeah, I have no love lost for him whatsoever. I think he's a brilliant mind. He's an incredible player. I don't like the way that he looks, though. Just like I didn't like the way John Elway and his teeth looked. And I just have never liked, Peyton Manning, and Brady's the next one. Let's get rid of him too. And then we'll have a fresh start in the NFL with quarterbacks that I like.
There you go.
So
there you go.
I know
it's
that's
been declared.
It's kind of silly.
It's been declared. Before we get, and I know it's coming up where we're going to have new football player Eric Mitchell joining us, and you had an opportunity to speak with him a few days ago. Did you see this? That UCF has passed Miami as the third most popular program in the state. That's big because that public policy polling comes out every year with that question. And UCF has climbed on Miami, and Miami's been pretty much stuck there at that 10%. And UCF now third of 12% of respondents saying that UCF is their favorite school. Of course, Florida's number one at 29%.
I thought this came out last year that we were third too, no?
We may have been tied with Miami, but we've been creeping up,
okay.
And now we've passed Miami. Florida number one, 29% support. FSU next at 19%. UCF 12%. So that's huge. Miami stuck there at 10%. The Cows.
It's kind of like an election here with Trump, Cruz, and Rubio.
The Cows liked by just 5%. I'm calling for them to drop out. We're mixing the politics.
When is FIU gonna?
FIU at 3%.
FIU could take them over here pretty soon.
And
3
Florida
and 5%.
Atlantic,
that's pretty close.
1%.
Wow,
for the Owls. Interesting that
Florida Atlantic has a football team.
The Owls.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm just joking.
Interesting that the older the respondent, the more likely they were to align and support Florida State. And younger they were, the more likely they were to support UCF, which just goes to show you the changing demographics in the state as UCF continues with 63,000 plus students. And the big news of the week that UCF's downtown campus approved by the Board of Governors, more exposure for the university, bigger presence in downtown Orlando, that young alumni base. They're pumping out 15,000 grads a year. We're not going to catch Florida and Florida State anytime soon, but that's positive progress for UCF.
Yeah, so it sounds like that with that vote or whatever by the Board of Governors that they get that downtown thing if they can finance it, and then somebody came up with a big donation too, right?
There have been various entities that
recently,
have come up, Orlando Magic being one of them, and so there's a lot of energy around that. Should be a job creator for the downtown area.
It's great.
So it's positive for UCF.
All right, yeah, that's good. Positive is always good, and it can grow the university and get more people involved in everything.
Also positive, can we be positive after we talked about baseball and basketball in not so positive terms, is that softball is back on track. They had that rough weekend out west, but it was interesting that they had climbed as high as number 15 in the poll, and even though they got beat in several of those games right out west, they still stayed in the top 25 even with a sub 500 record, which I think goes to the credit of scheduling tough teams, and they hung in most of those games, and they're back on track. They've won 8 straight. They swept the UCF tournament. They're now 12-8 on the season, and play continues out at the UCF softball complex March 8th, a round-robin tournament. Ball State, Illinois State competing in that.
That's great.
That's positive news for the softball Knights.
That's good that they've gotten their legs back under them or whatever, their bats better or whatever, because, we rely on them to be one of the top teams that UCF
They're
has.
Our spring standout.
Yeah, so that's great. What do you say that we talk to defensive end Eric Mitchell?
Before the new Knights charge onto the field, they're on the line with us. Meet the new players that will wear the black and gold in this week's Recruit Spotlight. Standout Miami Central High School defensive end Eric Mitchell spurned offers from Florida, Louisville, a host of others to become a Knight, and he's talking with us on this week's Knightline podcast.
Please welcome defensive end Eric Mitchell to the Knightline podcast. Eric, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing good.
Good. You're from Miami, another Miami kid. We got lots in this class. How exciting is it to have some other guys from Miami coming to UCF with you?
It feels very good, like have boys coming up you from the same hometown you from, like to be playing in college with. That's very exciting. Can't wait.
Are any of the guys from Miami, did they play with you in high school?
I actually played with one my junior year, Brian Brown from Miami Northern. I played with him.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with him.
And are you familiar with any of the former UCF players that came from Miami?
Yes, I actually know Earl because he played at Miami Central, like how I am at Miami Central now. I know Earl, and I know the DB from St. Thomas. It's a lot of guys I knew when I went up there on a visit.
What about any of the older guys like Rennell Hall or Jeff Godfrey or any of those guys?
Oh, yeah, Jeff Godfrey, Pyramid. I knew all them guys from Miami Central.
Well,
yeah.
We're always excited to get guys from there because for a while there we had a little bit of a drought for maybe a couple of years of getting people from Miami. So I'm glad to have guys from Miami because there's a lot of good football that's played down there at the high school level. So whenever we see a kid and they're from Miami, we're excited.
Yeah.
I already told you, welcome to UCF. We're glad to have you as part of Night Nation off the air, but I didn't say that on. But did you choose UCF or did UCF choose you?
It was both.
How did it go down?
It just went down. It was actually both. I don't really remember.
So it was a pretty simple process. It wasn't anything crazy. Like, were you committed to anybody else or anything?
During the season, early, I was committed to Florida.
Why would you choose UCF over Florida? Because a lot of, that's kind of two different ball games, but again, it's the same. And that's one of the things that I think people want to know is why you chose UCF over Florida.
I mean, it was a tough decision. It was just a tough decision. I felt UCF more.
What did you like about UCF when, you visited and stuff?
I just like the campus. I like the football team. I like the new coaching staff. Some of the old coaching staff that's still there. So I fit in with it.
What coach recruited you?
Coach Travis Fisher.
About Coach Fisher, he's got a lot of NFL experience and stuff like that. What was it about him that you really liked?
We could relate to each other. He's from the same place I'm from. Both of us from Florida, so he showed me a lot of things.
Describe your style of play for people that haven't seen your tape.
Say I'm a quick rusher, go after the quarterback that would get on fast, and I got very good hand placement. So all the old line trying to throw the hands up, I would knock it down quick. So that's very good. Good techniques.
So is your thing rushing the passer? Are you a pass rushing defensive end or a run stopper?
I would say a pass rusher. I can do both of them. I can do both. It don't really matter. On both.
I know you played defensive end in high school. Is that the position that they recruited you for, or had they talked about changing you into a linebacker or anything?
I don't know. I'm gonna see when I get out there.
Yeah, you'll just have to see. I mean, it's a ways away, and then things can happen in the spring to the fall. When are you planning on enrolling to UCF?
June.
Okay. When do you graduate high school?
In May.
What do you plan on majoring in?
Sports management.
What's your greatest football accomplishment so far?
Winning the state championship.
Okay, was that this year that you guys won that?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and how that whole thing went down.
Actually, to play on the team that everybody wants to win, that was very good. To see that during your high school career, we went through a lot of ups and downs. So I really saw it all. I seen it all. So they getting to college, they won't be nothing. I want to see the workouts. We worked out like college workouts. So all that, I've been through it. What
would your teammates say about you?
What would they describe me as?
Yeah, I mean, what would they say? Are you a nice guy? Are you a mean guy?
They'll tell you I'm a funny guy who's about business. When it's time to play, I get the team happy. You feel me? All that sad face. I like to see everybody cool and happy.
So you can have fun, but when it's time to work hard, you can work hard too.
Yeah.
It's always a good quality to have because I played college football and I had teammates that were real serious, but then, some that played around all the time, and it's not good to have guys that play around all the time. They didn't wind up being too good half the time, when they just screwed around all the time and they were always getting in trouble and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What can Night Nation expect when you hit the field? What can they expect to see?
A lot of great things. Just all I got to say is a lot of good things.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Be patient. Class of 2016 going to change it around. Along with the other players that's still there and the new coaching staff and the coaching staff that stayed. We're going to turn it around. So be ready for 2016 year. You
saw how UCF did last year. Did you pay attention at all? Were you paying attention to UCF before they recruited you?
Yes, I was. That was actually one of my top schools.
Does it bother you to come to an 0-12 school after last year? You saw what happened. I mean, it was ugly all year. Did it bother you, or did it light a fire a little bit more?
Not really, because everybody has their downfalls. I mean, like, just the history they have, like back-to-back conference bowl games, that's good. Like, just 1 year can't define the team because everybody's going to have their downfall.
And
you got to rebuild it.
Are you familiar with when they went to the Fiesta Bowl a couple of years ago and beat Baylor?
Yes, I am.
That was one of the things that, like, a lot of people ask. They ask all the time when they talk to us, do you think that helped, that kids still think about that, and that was a big reason for kids choosing UCF?
Yes, I would. I think they really do think about that.
Where can fans follow you on social media?
They can follow me on Twitter, Instagram. On Twitter, E8, the number 8, _ Mitchell, Mitchell.
All right. What number did you wear in high school?
8.
I just figured since both of your handles had 8 in them, did they say that you could wear that number in college maybe?
I haven't talked about that.
Okay, well.
I'm not really focused on numbers.
That sometimes is kind of a big thing to kids,
Yeah, I know.
Because, for years, one of the things the players haven't had the names on the back of their jerseys, and I guess this year that's going to happen, which, to me, it would be kind of a big deal, and before that, and even for fans, it's kind of a big deal. So we're excited for that. We're excited for all kinds of stuff. We're excited to have players like you and the rest of the class this year, and we cannot wait. Trust me, we can't wait just as much as you can't wait for football to start.
Yeah.
We are a rabid fan base, and, it's going to be exciting with Coach Frost here and bringing in everybody else. I mean, it's going to be a big year. Defense is going to be really happening, I believe. Everybody focuses on Coach Frost's offense, but I think the defense is going to be something to deal with too. So it's going to be exciting. Hey, man, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
If you're looking for a photographer, look no farther than Andrew Phegley Photography. We offer our services at affordable prices and the extreme quality you expect. Give us a call today at 407-205-7427 or see us online at andrewphegley.smugmug.com.
This is J.J. Warden, Bert Schneider, Burton Alexander, Brandon Hellwig, Cameron Stewart, Colin Bell, Jeff Sharon, Kyle Israel, Quinton McDuffie, Quentin Hampton, Rashad Cobbs, Renell Hall,
Sire Burley,
Stephanie Best,
Terrence Plummer,
Tom James, Phil Steele, and you're listening to the UCF Knightline Podcast.
Pretty soon we'll be able to add Eric Mitchell to that list of interviews in the getting to know the recruits, the new recruits section of the Knightline Podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make a new one with all the new people. A new montage of all of our guests. That has been so cool, by the way, to have all those guys, do interviews with us and all that. And I've got another one set up for our next podcast, and I'm going to keep trying to get all of them. So, and then of course, like I did last year, in between some of the times off that we took, I'll put up those replays and stuff like that. So.
And there are a variety of ways to get to know the new players, obviously the interviews, but also our stats guy, our crunching the numbers guy, John Swift, has been busy preparing some information. You've got another profile you're getting ready to put up.
Yeah, Jawan Hamilton, running back, will be our next one. He is a running back from South Dade, Homestead, Miami, Florida, basically. He's 5'10", 187, and he's another fast running back, so he could make some. He was a 3-star, so he could make some waves back there in the running back position as well. He had offers from Cincinnati, Miami, Syracuse, Temple, stuff like that. So that could be pretty interesting with him, and we'll try to get a hold of him and do an interview with him as well. But if you go to our website, you can see what John has come up with on him.
And you were pretty definitive when we did the last live program that we did, in which you thought, boy, any of these 20 guys could see playing time this year. I kind of thought, well, the quarterback recruit, we're not going to. But you're pretty clear. You could see any of these, is your opinion.
Well, of course, with it being Scott Frost's first year, and then the guys that he recruited are the guys that he wanted. I mean, so I think the table is wide open as far as who could play. And we don't have the thing of George O'Leary past where George O'Leary doesn't play freshmen, which he had in the last couple seasons because he had to with a lot of those guys, but it really wasn't one of his favorite things to do. But in college football now, I don't think that's you see a lot more than years past.
And obviously, coming off an 0-12 season, there are a lot of positions that there is room for improvement. We didn't exactly get the production we wanted out of the running game, so there is an opportunity there.
Yeah, a couple really strong guys that are going to be back there. So that's
and the
exciting.
previous posts that John has put together are archived there. So if you haven't had an opportunity, Adrian Killens, and there was another one you had up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, one of those.
Dredrick.
Yeah, Dredrick Snelson was up there as well. So there's some news about former UCF assistant David Kelly, which a lot of people liked while he was here, but then he had
stopped liking
a little issue.
Yeah, it's interesting. He certainly had success recruiting, and then there were some issues related to his tenure at UCF that resulted in some of the the NCAA sanctions that UCF was placed on.
And now he has done the absolute
unthinkable.
Yes,
yeah,
I was trying to think of a word for that.
He's a cow.
Yeah, he has joined South Florida.
South Florida, he certainly can reach out to players. He has those connections in South Florida, and we'll see if he's.
And he was a great recruiter until he, recruited the wrong way with sanctions. So maybe.
Yeah, maybe he hasn't learned.
The good part of this could be if he hasn't learned, he messes some stuff up over there. Maybe it's a whole conspiracy theory where he's like, I've already messed it up for UCF, so I can't go back there, so I'll mess it up for,
go up I-4 and mess it up there.
So hopefully, good luck over there, David Kelly. Just don't follow any of the NCAA rules and help us out a little bit.
He maintains his innocence.
Maybe you'll come back.
Speaking of coming back, former Knight Marcus Jordan, son of some guy named Michael, trying to make a name for himself in the retail world. Jordan's slated to open Trophy Room, a footwear, apparel, and memorabilia store at Disney Springs.
I wonder if it's going to be all Air Jordans, first of all. Is it going to be a Nike store? Is it just going to be Nike because his dad is, the Nike guy? And then the other question I have, will it be better than his basketball career? I hope it's more successful than
it was an exciting time when he was here and Dad Michael was up in the suites cheering on the Knights, and it was an exciting time. Back in the days when basketball was exciting and fun to watch at the UCF, now CFE Arena. Maybe
we can get one of the other guys. We have Davis, and he's a professional basketball player's kid too, Anthony Davis's kid. I don't know.
Not quite the same buzz as when Marcus was here, but good luck to him and much success, and he'll be one of the new retailers out at that Disney Springs. That's all a mess out there. If you've been out there since they've reworked it, there's barricades and cones.
I
and
have
all kinds
been
of
out
mess
there.
Out there, but
I like what they're doing with it. I can't wait. The parking garages are awesome, and I guess they spent tons and tons and tons of money on those things. But man, they're so cool. Have you been out there?
I have been out there I've had some folks in town, and
I know
taken
this
them out
is
there.
Not what people want to listen to on the Knightline podcast, but I have to say the parking garages are great because you pull into the spot or you go down the lane. It tells you how many spaces are available, and then when you pull in the spot, it sets the sensor off and tells you that spot is full. It's a green light above the spot, though, if there's no car parked there. It's very easy to tell when you're driving down the lane where a spot is. Hey, look, there's one down there, and it's cool.
I normally park on. I've only been in that once, and it was a big mess getting around when it first opened. So I normally park over by Cirque du Soleil and just on the surface lot and walk over.
Yeah, they're awesome though. It's a good thing. I think that you're going to see. I've never seen those parking garages like that before, but I think that you're going to see more of them. It might be a good thing for UCF. On to news and notes. And now, news and notes from the world of UCF sports.
It's one and done for women's basketball in the American tournament. UCF loses to SMU. Final score 83-74 in overtime. The Knights finished the regular season 4-14 in the American, 7-22 overall. Now 7-23. Now head coach Joy Williams, quoted at the end of the game, as saying, We've got 8 underclassmen, and I like the fight. At one point, I think we had 3 freshmen on the floor. There's a lot of work, a lot to work with, and a lot to look forward to next season, she said. They're very disappointed. We talked about just not feeling like this again next year after the first game. Be hungry to come back and have another opportunity.
Hopefully.
Interesting quote from her.
Yeah.
She's looking forward to next season. Remains to be seen if new athletic director Danny White is looking forward to Joy Williams coaching the basketball team next season
as well. Move over Trump and Clinton. Vote Fish. Megan Fish, the women's soccer player, is up for the Higher Achievement Award. You can vote for the UCF standout at www.higherachievement.com through March 31st. The winning player earns a $5,000 donation to the school's scholarship fund, not to mention an HDTV for the athletic department.
You can vote on this once a day, and when I voted for her, it pops up 23 hours, 59 minutes. I have not voted every day. I voted once.
All right, so get out there and vote, people.
Women's golf, 9th at the Lady Gator Invitational in Gainesville. Up next, the Bryan National Collegiate, Greensboro, North Carolina, begins April 1st.
Rowing won its 6th straight Robin Ewell Trophy to claim the 36th annual Metro Cup, featuring Rollins, Duquesne, and Villanova at Lake Maitland. Up next, the Cardinal Invite, March 12th and the 13th.
Women's tennis, 5-4 overall, 1-1 in the American after beating UConn 4-3. Up next, March 10th, Samford, S-A-M-F-O-R-D, at 10 a.m. at the UCF Tennis Complex.
Men's tennis loses 7-0 to third-ranked TCU on Sunday. Up next, back at the UCF Tennis Complex on March 10th for a 2 p.m. match with East Carolina.
There are so many ways to connect with the UCF Knightline podcast.
Check out our website at ucfknightlinepodcast.com for recruit spotlights, archived episodes, and more.
You can like us on Facebook at Knightline Podcast.
Talk with us on Twitter at UCF_Knightline.
Listen whenever and wherever you are on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, or TuneIn.
Call us with your questions or comments at 407-205-7427.
Go Knights!
Charge on.
Meantime, we're back in action live, Andrew, for a live edition of the Knightline podcast. That's March 20th, Sunday, March 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern, live phone calls.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. This has been episode number 70. I'm Andrew Phegley.
I'm Trace Trylko. Go Knights!
Charge on.
UCF, charge on to the field. With our spirits, we'll never yield. Black and